going into Company of Heroes 3, we knew we wanted to make a big splash with our campaign, and so we thought, a dynamic campaign map that's replayable. It worked really well in Ardennes Assault, which was an add-on to Company of Heroes 2. But what if we expanded on that? And so what we did was we asked our players, we asked our community council, we asked in surveys, would you be interested in a dynamic campaign map? And the resounding answer was yes. And the connection between that strategic campaign map and the RTS battles is really the secret sauce, because it's a natural extension of commanding the battlefield.
It's exposing to the player a broader conflict that requires a whole heck of a lot of logistics, which is, where are my troops? How do they land? Do I have the right troops for the job? Those are the kinds of questions and problems you want to put in front of the player. They're more strategic in nature.
I think the thing that the players will like most is just the agency of being able to customize their army, and if they want to go all Air Force, they can. They can choose to build a whole bunch of Air Force and bring those effects on the campaign map, bring those effects into mission.
Chiefly, the player has to capture airfields to be able to manage an inventory of aircraft. It's no good to have bombers and fighters if you don't have somewhere to land and refuel. And so in terms of the overall gameplay, land troops, ground troops, such as campaign companies and detachments, will have to move inland, capture airfields before managing inventory, building up inventory, purchasing aircraft, and then deploying them into battle.
Navy is an interesting one. One of the Navy's primary focuses is defending your supply lines and making sure that you've got resources coming in and it's not being harassed by the enemy. But then they're also there to do some really cool things like send in beach landings or transport your companies to do a beach landing, to engage a mission, or to land on a beach and do a flanking maneuver.
The enemy will have access to both air and Navy. The approach for both air and Navy with regards to the enemy will be different, because the German approach was different. At the point that we're beginning the campaign, German air power was beginning to weaken. It wasn't as strong as it was at the onset of the war. So when the player sees enemy air, it'll be a very dramatic element, a very dramatic moment. And then the Germans are going to use their air power in very specific ways against the player's ports, against the player's supply lines, and against the player's naval power in the region. Partisans on the campaign layer as a strategic resource perform actions that would normally take more resources for a conventional force to perform. Likewise, partisans are able to do things that break the borders of activity. So for me to move a campaign company across an enemy border requires supply, requires reconnaissance. Partisans, they don't need all that kind of stuff. They can cross borders and get in places where the Allied troops can't in a conventional fashion. So they can sabotage, they can delay or otherwise confuse enemy units. They're very much an asymmetrical fighting force.
My favorite thing with the campaign map right now is just seeing all the systems come together and the way it feeds into the mission. You're customizing your army, you're setting them up on the campaign map, you're getting to skirmishes, and then all that's affecting the missions, and the result of the mission coming out affects the way the campaign map's going to play going forward.
So we have over 10 different kinds of skirmishes that you'll go in based on where you met on the campaign map. What are some factors that play into it? Did you have other companies nearby? Do you have an airport nearby for air support? Do you have Navy nearby for sea support? And so all that's playing out as you go into a mission. Then when you come back up from your mission or skirmish, anything that happened in that battle goes right back up. So did you lose half of your squads? Well, then you won't have some veterancy that can go up and help you on the campaign map. So there's a really tight connection between the strategic layer and the tactical layer, and we think our players are going to love it.